Mehdi Sultanian, Finance Director here at Exclusive Automotive Group. Today I would like to explain to you leasing, Bentley in particular. What is a lease, what makes an attractive lease, and why it's an amazing time right now to be leasing Bentleys. So let's get started. So let me explain to you what makes up a lease, so you have a good understanding of what a lease is made of originally. You have your MSRP, which is the manufacturer's selling price. That's what the manufacturer suggests selling a car at a specific price. You have your selling price, which is a price you agree with the dealership on how to purchase that specific vehicle. Then you have your residual. A residual is a very important part of your lease. Residual tells you basically how much your car will be worth at a specific time at the end of your lease. So if you're doing a 36 months lease, for example, they'll have a specific amount for it, versus if you were to do a 24 months lease or a shorter lease. At that time, you have some options. You can come and say, okay, I really enjoyed this car, here's the key, and you walk away because the amount is fixed. Perhaps, if there's any equity made in that trade, you can actually decide to purchase your car. So what I mean by that, let's just say you come here and let's just use a $100,000 figure. They say, sir or ma'am, after 3 years, 36 months, your lease is worth $100,000. But perhaps because of the strength of the Bentley in the economy, your actual car with that specific model is now worth $120,000. Now all of a sudden, it makes sense to buy out your lease because you have $20,000 in equity. What you may also do is trade that lease into another vehicle. Perhaps you can just take the equity from that car and put it toward another lease or another financing or another cash deal. So the flexibility is extremely amazing in a lease because of the way it's structured. At any given time, it's a win-win for you. You could either have an equity and take advantage of that equity. You could just walk away from the lease because if, for example, they say it's $100,000 worth, but in the market it's now $80,000 worth, you have no liability. They have promised you they will be willing to buy the car back from you at 100K. So you just basically give away the key. So that is your residual. The next thing you have is your money factor. Leases, just like financing, they have interest involved. Interest in a lease is called money factor. So that is what a lease is made of. You have your MSRP, selling price, you have your residual, you have your money factor. So now let's talk about what makes an attractive lease and why a specific lease is more attractive than another traditional lease. Alright, so now that you have an understanding of what a lease is made of, let's speak and talk about what makes an attractive lease. Why a lease can become attractive versus financing a car or perhaps paying cash for it. So we talked about MSRP, that's the selling price that never changes because it's set from the manufacturer. You have your residual. The residual is extremely important because given how strong the Bentley market has been, the manufacturer is being seen that. So now they feel more stronger about the brand and they know, for example, in 2 years, 12 months, 36 months, a specific car with specific miles will do a specific amount at wholesale auction prices. And because of that, they are making the residual very strong. So I'll explain to you why that is important to you when you lease a car. The next important thing is the money factor. The economy is amazing right now. Money is very cheap to borrow. So when you have a very low interest rate, that always assists you with your payments. So let's go back to that residual. When you are leasing a car, your ultimate objective is to pay for the delta from what the car is being purchased for until the residual amount is basically what they're saying how much the car is worth at the end of the lease. The tinier or the smaller that delta amount is, the least you will pay on your payments. So when you have a very strong residual from the manufacturer, that makes the car's worth at the end very higher. And when you buy a good price at the dealership, alongside your money factor, which would be low, allows you to get a very attractive lease. So right now, that is what we have right now with Bentley Financial Services. They are having a very strong residual amount, very low money factor, and the support is amazing, which allows to these leases to be phenomenal and in most cases not only beat the competition which is not really our competition, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Porsche, Tesla, but super exceeds it, and for much less money you can achieve to own a very more expensive car. So this is what makes an attractive lease, and this is what we have at the moment. Thank you so much for listening to this explanation on what a lease is, what makes up a lease, and why it's an attractive time to be leasing a Bentley. If you have any questions regarding any of our leases, feel free to contact me. I'll put my email in the description alongside my phone number. On our website, you can go to exclusiveautomotivegroup.com, or you can just go to Bentley Tysons. All of our Bentleys have their leases noted on them, so you just hover over any vehicle, you can see how much they're being leased for. For example, this one is $15.89. By going inside that specific vehicle, you can then go to the lease info tab, and it explains to you nicely what the lease amount is calculated for, on how it's achieved. Once again, thank you so much for listening to this video. Exclusive Automotive Group, we are happy to assist you with the next acquisition of your Aston Martin, Bentley, McLaren. Mehdi Sultanian, Finance Director. Thank you. Take care.